hear you're ready for your dose of reality.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dr. Quack Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. And we had a really long week last week. You know, we have a horrible pay-per-view we just had to watch. You know, that god-awful Fastlane. Oh, my God.
Yeah, make sure you check out our review on that. But that's not what our review's about today, because
No, we're actually reviewing something kind of decent. So,
yeah, we get Wrestlemania 17. Oh yeah, this one here, this was definitely a great one to go on the road to WrestleMania with.
yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. The historical significance of this pay-per-view is this is the first pay-per-view, and it just happens to be WrestleMania, but it's the very first pay-per-view after the WWF purchase of WCW. So we get to see now the new perspective of the McMahon versus the McMahon fight, part 73.
Yeah, as that always went, I'm telling you, it was a long battle. But, you know, it was a great pay-per-view. I mean, later on down the year, you got to see the whole, you know, invasion angle, but that didn't come in yet.
No, but we did get something that came in that was god-awful, and they pushed the hell out of it. Every match had somebody's entrance music, and they kept showing WrestleMania the album, Volume 5.
Oh my God.
For every single. For those of you that were not familiar with this, in the 80s, they came out with WWF came out with a wrestling CD of songs. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda's song, I Am a Real American by Rick Derringer, that Hulk Hogan stole, was on there. Don't Go Messing with a Country Boy was on there, and some other songs. Then they did Pile Driver. Well, they kept coming out, and now we're on Volume 5, and I think Volume 5 was the last because they realized that was a really stupid idea.
Yeah, there wasn't much after that I remember. But let me break it down here, because they opened up with a commercial with the Legends through WrestleMania. They were showing everybody there. They were showing Hogan. They were showing Andre. They were showing the Warrior. They were showing the Hitman, Shawn Michaels.
They showed a lot of big history. Shawn Michaels had just left not too long ago. We're about 6 months removed from the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah, I mean, they went on with it. They showed Austin in that WrestleMania 14 that we reviewed. But yeah, they went down the line. And this one actually took place in the Astrodome in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, at this time it was called the Reliant Astrodome. Reliant Stadium had not been built yet where the Houston Texans play. That's still about 3 years away. So, about 2 years. It's 2 to 3 years away, so it's still a little ways away. But the Astrodome was a great venue, large, huge facility. And then we get to listen to the dulcet tones of Jim Ross and the not-so-dulcet tones of Paul Heyman.
Yeah, it was interesting at times listening to Paul Heyman, wasn't it?
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
God.
By the way, for those of you that were wondering, the King had been married to a woman named Stacy Carter.
The Cat.
Yeah, the Cat Stacy Carter around this time. And she, because she was kind of a grumbling shrew backstage, she managed to get herself fired. And Jerry Lawler, in being a good husband, quit with her. Well, then she divorced him 4 months later and he came back. But at this time, Jerry Lawler is not with the company because he's standing out with Stacy Carter.
Right. I mean, that wouldn't have nothing to do with the fact that she exposed herself during a pay-per-view live. Yeah, look that up if you want to check that out.
Yeah.
But we had the Three Stooges as far as backstages back there.
2.5.
Oh, 2.5? Okay, we're at 2.5 there. Yeah, Jonathan Coachman, Kevin Kelly, and Michael Cole.
Okay, so we're back up to 3. Cole's 1.5, so we're back up to 3.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting seeing Attitude Era Michael Cole.
Michael Cole with his frosted hair.
Looking like one of the Backstreet Boys, I swear.
He was a backdoor boy.
He might have been. But yeah, we're going to move down here because the first match was a classic here. Chris Jericho taking on William Regal.
Yep, and this is one of the last times that they mentioned that this was from Winnipeg. This took place in the year 2001, April 1st, 2001. We're still about 5 months away from 9/11 happening. So because of this, we still have Canadian wrestlers. If you'll remember, Edge and Christian and Benoit and Chris Jericho all changed their hometowns to living in the United States where they actually live. They get away with the Canadian thing to keep the American positivity going on. So this is one of the last times you get to hear Chris Jericho mentioned from Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is where he's really from, taking on Commissioner William Regal in a match for the Intercontinental title. Jericho was the champion. It was a decent match, but the ending was really odd. It was one of those, the match was going along and all of a sudden, line assault, it's over.
Yeah, it went really quick and unexpected. I'm not sure exactly what happened with that. The funny thing was the lead up to this match because you actually had on there on the vignette, they had Chris Jericho actually peeing in William Regal's tea.
Yeah, they called it Zinger Tea and some other names. I don't want to get into the urinary jokes because we got enough poo-poo with the guy I'm about to talk about here, Paul Heyman. In this match, you could tell he was not comfortable. He sounded like this. And then we had the spot where William Regal does the move. It was great, but I'm cheering for Regal. That is how he sounded in the first match. He did not loosen up until about the third match.
Yeah, he sounded very robotic and Captain Obvious-like. But I gave this match 2.5 stars.
And that's exactly what I gave it. This should have been a 3-star, but the ending really was just off-putting. It just came out of nowhere. It really hurt this match like it was, oh crap, we went too long, it's time to go.
Yeah.
But it was a good match. Good opening.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it set the table. What can I say? It didn't, overdo it. It didn't undercut it. It works. So, after that, they had the APA in a segment there with Miss Jackie playing cards, drinking beer, smoking cigars, talking about their big matchup for matchup 2 here. The Right to Censor with Stevie Richards in the corner, taking on Taz, and the APA with Miss Jackie in the corner.
Yep, they were still called the Acolytes at this time. They were not the Acolyte Protection Agency. They were still called the Acolytes. And the segment he was talking about was you have Bradshaw, who's from about 100 miles away in Athens, Texas, talking about the history of all the people that have come through the Astrodome, which Miss Jackie is also from Dallas, or she's from Dallas, so she's also from Texas. And the two of them putting over the history and the importance of being in Texas. And then we get this god-awful match. God-awful is not fair. This match just didn't work. These people did not have chemistry together. This was a botch fest and a half, especially the Taz botches and the Godfather botches.
I mean, this was, Taz only been there probably about a year, but I think it was his first WrestleMania. I really think he had WrestleMania jitters.
Yeah, and I want to go away from how bad this match was. I wrestled here in a company in Houston for about 9 years called Texas All-Star Wrestling. And they actually managed to get somebody on the hard cam side. They were holding up a sign that you could see during this match. So shout out to Texas All-Star Wrestling, Bob Murphy. Great job getting yourself pushed on this show.
Yeah, did a really great job on that.
And I went 2 stars for this rating.
Yeah, I went 2.5. I felt like it was decent. Yeah, Taz really screwed up in this match. But outside that, it wasn't bad. I mean, it's the way it is. I felt like it was a solid match. I believe the APA went over.
Yeah, I think it was the APA went over. I really didn't mark the block. This kind of was, I like the right to censor. I like the APA. Normally I like Taz, but this match I was like, get him off my television. So I rated it 2 stars, but I didn't really pay attention to what happened once the botches started flying.
Yeah. So yeah, moving on here, they had a segment with Trish and Linda McMahon and Stephanie McMahon out there. At this time, Linda McMahon was considered comatose. She was in a wheelchair, and Trish was, of course, pushing her. And Stephanie's looking at her in her comatose state and says, at least she raised one child right, talking about Shane McMahon being not raised right there. And he's going to get his butt kicked in the upcoming match.
I hear you. I'm saving you for Paul Heyman.
Oh, boy.
2, fine. This was stupid.
It was.
Vince McMahon supposedly was the genetic jackhammer with the massive grapefruits. And I don't know if he was involved. I know he's involved with it because he controls everything. But whether his writers proposed it or he proposed it. So I'm sorry, Vince McMahon, you're getting sprayed. You were kissing Trish Stratus in front of your wife, who you're still married to. And you've got Nipple H out there being happy with it. So Vince McMahon, this is a god-awful segment. It should never have existed. The only thing worse is Katie Vick, and we're not getting to that.
Oh, boy, yeah. Well, he met her in a soup kitchen, so that was nice, right? That's nice. Yeah. Moving along here.
Let's just move on. We've got a decent hardcore match to talk about. With some good fodder here.
Yeah, hardcore title. This was interesting here. Raven, the hardcore champion, took on the Big Show and Kane in a triple threat match. And let me tell you, they went everywhere.
That they did. They built a separate room inside the Astrodome just so it could be destroyed. That's how far they went all around the Astrodome. This was a great match. The only and it was brutal. The only problem I felt is 85% of this match happened backstage. So most of the people in the Astrodome were watching this on a camera, and you could hear the crowd buzz going down and down and down. And then they get done fighting, and they start fighting their way back out through the ring curtain on their way back down the ramp. And you could almost hear the people turn and look, oh, they're here! Let's start cheering again. They spent too long backstage. It killed the flow of the show.
Yes, and I'm pretty certain this was the first time a golf cart had been used in a match. Sorry, Roman Reigns, it was not you.
Yeah, Raven almost got ran over for real.
Yeah, his leg got caught underneath. They were hitting them brakes hard. But yeah, I think they even built a set backstage for this because you saw them going through walls.
Windows. They destroyed doors. They were destroying chain link. They destroyed everything.
Yeah, I gave this 3 1/4 stars. I felt like this was a great match. This helped with momentum with the show. I felt like it was great.
I went 2 3/4. I was going 3 stars, but like I said, my big problem was that while the match was great, the important thing to remember is you're entertaining the fans. You're not entertaining yourself. You're not entertaining the TV crowd. The first person you should always entertain is the people sitting in front of you, and they lost sight of that by spending 9.5 minutes backstage.
Yeah, they definitely did. Moving along here, it was great to see because they had WWE New York still around, and you got to see Superfly, Jimmy Snuka there, which was awesome to see him. He was still one of the greatest. Rest in peace. But moving along here, European title match. Eddie Guerrero with Perry Saturn taking on Test.
Test. A lot of people give hate to Test. They say he's a horrible worker. They say he's not entertaining. They say he's boring. They say he's very robotic. This match proved that all true.
Yes.
I'm going to shock some people here. I'm not a huge Eddie Guerrero fan. I enjoyed a lot of the stuff he did, but I just did not feel he was one of the greatest of all time. I think he was a very good wrestler, but not the greatest of all time. But, with that being said, Eddie Guerrero did go over on this match against Test. It was kind of so-so. There was a lot of stuff going on in this match that really felt like the match was secondary to everything else that was happening throughout this match. I went 2.25 stars, but it's a wrestling piece, so Test, we're going to give you the respect due, but you didn't really belong here.
Yeah, I went 2.75 stars on this. I mean, Eddie used the title in the end. It was great to see the Radicals, including Dean Malenko, make his entrance out there and interfere in this match. It showed the unity that the Radicals were. I thought that was one of the better groups I've ever seen.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Radicals, both of us being huge Chris Benoit fans. Chris Benoit really started to get the credit he deserved that he was not getting in WCW. They did make reference to Chris Benoit's undefeated WCW title reign, which was one day, by the way, and then he surrendered the title.
Yes.
For those of you that were not aware of that.
Yes.
But it was great, the Radicals out there. But like I said, there was a lot going on. The match felt secondary to everything else that made the ending happen.
Yes, and moving on here, speaking of Chris Benoit, this was a great match. Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle. I'm telling you, this was the definition of chain wrestling.
Oh, definitely, and then some. Now, the backstory behind this was that Chris Benoit made Kurt Angle tap out, but the referee didn't see it. It was called by somebody else, and then Kurt Angle made Chris Benoit tap out. So it was a lot of game of one-upsmanship. That's a very simple, very time-honored and proven storytelling method. The big thing, we had no "You Suck" chant, which means it hadn't started yet. So everybody thinks that's been there the whole time with Kurt Angle. It didn't. It started later. Excellent storytelling match. 4 stars. Incredible. Excellent. For those of you indie workers, when you want to try out for the WWF, they don't care about that you doing top rope moonsaults. They don't want to see you throwing drop kicks. They want to see chain wrestling. When you go to tryouts or when you get a call up for a one-night chain wrestling, watch this match before you go. This is what they want to see.
Yeah, this was definitely a great match to watch. You know, if you're any student of the game, this is one to watch for sure. I went 4 stars as well. The ref bump in the end did not cause the ending. Kurt Angle, though, being smart, pulled the tights. It did not end the submission, which shocked me.
Which is also good because it's nice to throw little small swerves like that. Which, kayfabe word of the day, the swerve. Where you try and put over one ending or one happening, and you go in a different direction. It's done on purpose. It's to try and get a crowd reaction and see what kind of heat or shine that wrestlers have. So this was a great swerve that didn't end a match, which are not very often done. This was an excellent swerve. Kayfabe word of the day, the swerve.
Yeah, and if you want to see what they did a month later at Backlash, check out the special request we did a little while ago.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, moving along, great segment here because William Regal's walking in with an ice pack and he was in the training room a long time, but he comes to his office and he catches Kamala and Kim Chi standing on his table.
The late, great Kamala. Kim Chi, by the way, this was Steve Lombardi, who was Kim Chi. I always enjoyed Kamala. He was a very nice man. Very, very gracious, generous man. I'm glad he got to get himself a payday, doing a little bit here for WrestleMania. Besides jumping on a table, he's in a match, and a little bit later on that we're going to talk about. But I always enjoyed Kamala. I always thought he was a good stereotype segment that people enjoyed because it was obvious it wasn't real.
And something that was near and dear to us was the next segment because the WWE went to visit Fort Hood, Texas. That is where we both served at one point. When they were there, I was not there. I was actually in Kuwait, Iraqi border. I was in the last mission with the
I thought I was out of the country. I was not. I actually do remember a lot of that going on. It was great to see them there at Fort Hood. They had a big parade. They got to meet the post command and the garrison command. It was a nice thing to show some honor to Fort Hood, being only 3 hours away from Houston. I really enjoyed the segment, and it was a little long in the grand scheme of things, but We got to relive some old memories from Fort Hood. So we didn't think it was too long, but if you look at it from an objective point of view, it was about 2 to 3 minutes too long, but great tribute to the troops.
Yeah, it was great there. And moving along here, we had the women's title match. Chyna taking on Ivory. And it was wild because Chyna had a brace on her neck before this match happened.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about this match. Every time I see Chyna, all I think about is her entrance on Whose Line Is It Anyway? All I could do is I could hear Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles talking about her shimmying, and then I lose it. I can't watch her wrestle anymore. This match was not great. It was very boring. Ivory did the best she could with what she had. The only Glow wrestler ever to make it anywhere, and she's also in the Hall of Fame. I only went 1.5 stars. Again, Chyna didn't, and Ivory just didn't work together, and I can't watch Chyna wrestle anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Ivory did a lot of good work helping Chyna making this match look decent. I gave it 2.5 stars. They were putting over that they had injured Chyna, that she had hurt her neck, and Chyna was talking about retirement, but she came back and won the women's title while getting ready to do her Playboy photo shoot, I believe at the same time was this. Yeah,
like I said, a tragic story. She's a big contribution to women's wrestling. Hopefully one of these days she will get a call for the Hall of Fame. I understand why they don't. Unlike Sunny, Sunny did her adult entertainment stuff after she was in. Chyna did it before she was in. So for Chyna as a singles wrestler, hopefully she gets in, but I mean, I still can't watch her wrestle.
She's in there with DX, but yeah, she should get her individual accomplishment in there. Being the first Intercontinental Champion that was a woman.
First woman to be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so many great accolades there. But moving along here, they went with Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon in his corner, taking on Shane McMahon in a street fight with Mick Foley as the special guest referee.
This is the only one Paul Heyman called that I actually felt his contribution was decent and appropriate. He didn't oversell the match. He got excited at the right time. He put over the WCW guys that were sitting there watching. At this time, they weren't meat. It was Sean Stasiak, and Lance Storm hadn't come in. Stacy Keibler was up there. Tori Wilson was up there. And so they were up there enjoying the show. They were used properly to put over that they were watching their new boss. So that part, Shane McMahon, I've always said if he wasn't a McMahon, he'd have been a pro wrestler, probably a decent one. His punches and bunches suck, but that could be taught otherwise. And then Nipple H, I kept seeing the South Park episode, the High School Musical. I'm going slap happy. I mean, all she does is slap people. That's her whole milieu now. And it was old in 2001. It's really old now. But this was a fun match.
Yeah,
it wasn't. They're not great workers as far as Vince is not a great worker. Shane is passable at this point, but damn, it was fun.
Yeah, I gave this match 3 3/4 stars. I felt like this was a very solid match. People were looking forward to it. The drop kick coast to coast to the trash can from Shane to Vince. That was one of the greatest spots you'd see in this match.
Yeah, it was all a lot of fun. I went 3.5. I see what you're saying. Possibly I could bump it up to 3 3/4. A little overbooked, but it had to be because of all the elements involved in there. The Linda standing up.
Yeah, coming out of her comatose state.
Yeah, and the Shane McMahon point and the Vince kick in the groin, and it was a little overbooked, but again, it had to be because these guys are not normal fly by the seat of their pants workers. They needed to make sure everything worked just right, but so much fun. I'm going to bump it up with you. I'll go 3 3/4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was an excellent match. I really loved it. You know, Trish Stratus finally got her comeuppance from being, looked at as a slut pretty much. So she got, back to the good girl status. But overall, yeah, like I said, 3 3/4 stars. Now I'm going to move along to my quiet attack. This was one of the best matches on the card. I thought it was the best. They did it a year ago, and it was really good at WrestleMania 16. This was the TLC match. Edge and Christian versus the Hardys versus the Dudleys for the tag team titles.
That's right. The Dudleys come in, the tag team titles. Often the normal cliche is that the follow-up is not as good as the original. There are exceptions to that rule. The Godfather Part 2 is a prime example, and this match is another example of the second version is better than the first.
Yes.
They pulled out super bumps, but super bumps were done for meaning. They weren't done just to be done. The stuff was not overboard. They didn't do everything just to show off. They actually did everything with a purpose. You could follow the progression of the entire story, the entire match. When somebody was taken out of the match, they stayed out. They brought in Rhino, they brought in Lita, they brought in
Spike Dudley.
So they had some extras going on in this match, so they had a little more variety going on in this match. But just like TLC 1, Edge and Christian take the titles.
Yeah, the two big spots for me was the super spear off the top that gets shown a lot in videos anyways. You know, even post this show.
Yes.
You know, that and the what was it?
Matt Hardy and Bubba Dudley's bump
yes,
through the tables.
Through the tables off the top. Yeah, I mean, that was just incredible. Great storytelling in this match. You know, I give it 4 stars. This was definitely worth
And that's
it.
what I did, 4 stars as well.
Yeah, this one definitely fit my quack attack. But, yeah, 67,925. It packed the Houston Astrodome, something that never had been done before. That's because they had less space than a baseball stadium.
Yeah, smaller than a football stadium, smaller than a baseball stadium, smaller than a rock concert. Yeah, 18 by 18 with 6 foot of space all around it, so you can pack them in tight.
Yeah, so it was great there. But now, I'm going to move on to my 2 bigger saloons.
The whole thing?
Oh, yes, the whole thing. This match was here for a payday basis, in my opinion. This was the gimmick battle royal.
Yeah, but Bobby and Mean Gene, by the way, do the play-by-play and the color. It was great to see Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan hadn't missed a step.
Yeah, those guys did decent, but, you know, overall, this match did not belong. You had Duke the Dumpster Droese out there, who hadn't wrestled for the Fed in like 6 years. You had guys that were agents, like Brother Love out there.
I got the whole thing here, so you can point them all out as I name them off. We open up with the chocolate chip wearing bushwhackers.
Seriously?
Duke the Dumpster Droese.
Really?
The previous mention. The Iron Sheik.
Keep going.
Earthquake. The Goon.
Yeah, really? This is ridiculous. The gobbledygookers out there.
Steve Kern is Doink the Clown. Good Doink the Clown, by the way.
Yeah, not evil.
Kamala. Kim Chi actually wrestled instead of just being the handler. The Repo Man, which thumbs up. Chuck Norris approves of Repo Man.
Yeah, we'll give him. He gets a pass.
Jim Cornette as a wrestler. Nikolai Volkov. Michael P.S. Hayes, speaking of road agents.
Yeah.
The one-man gang. He wasn't Akeem. He was the one-man gang. We got the gobbledygooker previously mentioned, who wasn't Chavo Classic in this case. We don't know who it was, nor do we really care. Please don't leave us comments. We don't care who it is. If you leave a comment about this, you're getting sprayed. We get Tugboat. Not Fred Ottman, not Shockmaster, Tugboat. We get Hillbilly Jim, Brother Love, and Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, I mean, overall here, really, did this match have to go on? I understand. Look, this is in comparison to the Legends Night that happened this year. This is exactly why it did not fit. You need to bring back guys from 15, 20 years ago on some of them within about 10. And I'm sitting here like, look, we moved past the next generation era. Get over it. Seriously. We're in the 2001 here. Why are they in this battle royal? Why even have this match?
I'm actually okay with it for one reason and one reason only. This is the first pay-per-view without WCW in existence. WWF can gloat a little bit and show you how they got there, even if it is guys like Duke the Dumpster.
Well, we're in a difference of opinion, but it still gets my two-finger salute.
But since you gave it to it, go ahead and torture. Give it the torture.
Yeah,
Give it
right
the
there.
No.
Yeah, right there.
Now, I did only give this match 1.5 stars. It was terrible, but it was fun. I mean, unlike the Legends night where they just show up and stand around backstage, eat catering, and show you how much weight they put on after they quit Jenny Craig, at least these guys got in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, and it went too fast. Everybody's getting eliminated in 30 seconds. Iron Sheik ended up winning this, by the way. You know, congratulations to him. But to me, it was a time filler, and it was a payday for people that, you know, you would see on the independent circuit when you hired him for bookings.
I'm going to say one more thing. We had 2 strong matches. We had the Vince and Shane match and the Hardys, Edge and Christian Dudleys. That's 2 solid, high-impact matches. We're getting ready to go into another solid, high-impact match. Again, I'm okay with this right here because it did break up. You can't always just take people up. You have to take them down a little bit as well.
Yeah, case in point, I'm going to agree with that, but still, it's getting it. So, I'm going to move on from this match before I have a heart attack here.
Please do, because I don't want to do the show by myself.
Yeah, we had The Undertaker taking on Triple H with Stephanie McMahon.
This was a nice, strong match. Undertaker had demanded the match with Triple H. They had the feud going back and forth over the sledgehammer. The Triple H had busted open the Undertaker with the sledgehammer. So somebody demanded that they had Stephanie over their head, get ready to throw her off if they don't give Undertaker the match with Triple H. And William Regal caved in and accepted it. So it was a nice little storytelling reminder because this was a very long program and they only needed 1.5 minutes to get through it to tell you what was going on. So again, good job there. Smaller is better. Yes, Chuck Norris approves as always.
Yes.
But we do get a 5-minute Triple H entrance like usual.
Always, God. And that stuff continued throughout WrestleMania history.
The only other knock on this match, besides that it was an excellent storytelling match, there was a ref bump in this match where the referee gets knocked down, and he stayed down. And he stayed down.
Yeah, he stayed down for quite a minute.
And he was still down. 4.5 minutes for a stomp and an elbow drop from The Undertaker was way too long. If The Undertaker needed to take a referee out, he should have spiked The Undertaker. Or she should have spiked him instead of just dropping an elbow on him. But I did give it 3.5 stars. It was a great match. This was probably the best match of The Undertaker's streak to this point by far. Great match.
And this was American Badass Undertaker for people that didn't know. But I want to give a special shout over there to Motorhead. Lemmy over there singing Triple H's theme song. I'm a huge Motorhead fan, so that made me pop like nobody's business.
Not a fan of that style time period of music. I didn't listen to it a lot, so okay, it's nice to see him there, I guess. So he sounded like the recorded version, so I'll say he sounded fine.
Yeah, he did fine. 3 stars for me. And now moving on to the main event. The reason why people tuned in, because this was the great one, The Rock, taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin for the world title.
Yeah, this was a great match. This match ended the show's theme of the night of ref bump. There was a ref bump in this match. In fact, half the matches had ref bumps. And in a couple of cases, it was unnecessary. A lot of them. This is one where it was necessary. Odd finish at the end because of what they were setting up down the line. By the way, this started what became known as the 2-man power trip, which was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H and Vince McMahon going on a tirade.
Yeah, this was great. I'm telling you. A lot of people hated this part of wrestling, this 2001. I loved it personally because he sold his soul to the devil. Steve Austin did whatever it took. And they kept saying it over here, whatever it took to win that title, and he sold his soul to the devil. Yes, Paul Heyman was high-pitched on this, but it fit because this was the main event.
Yeah, Paul Heyman was definitely channeling his Captain Obvious while sounding like Art Donovan, Randy Savage, Todd Pettengill, and Mark Madden all at the same time. He was unhinged.
Oh my God, yes. And let me tell you, this match was brutal. It was carnage. You've seen blood throughout this match. You've seen chair shots throughout this match. You've seen The Rock hitting a stunner. You've seen Austin hitting the rock bottom. This is okay comparison to what was going down 20 years from now, which is today, because they told the story. They told the story about how two great people were doing whatever it took to win that title, and Austin came out on top.
Yes, this is one of those where we've said before how making signature moves and finishing moves mean something. One of the ways you make them mean something is a pause in between giving the finishing move and going for the pin. If you hit the finishing move, then immediately go for the pin, and the person kicks out, you look like crap.
Yes.
But when Stone Cold hit the rock bottom on the Rock, he paused for about 4, 5, 6 seconds, looking around, then went into the cover. So the Rock had a reason to kick out. It was several seconds later. Or when the Rock hit the Stone Cold Stunner on Austin, he got up and walked around and looked around for about 10 or 15 seconds, then went for the cover. Those are appropriate uses of a long 2 count on a finishing move because they added a pause, a caesura, to make that mean something.
Yeah, I gave this match 4 3/4 stars. I felt like if you're going to rate this among the greatest, this is definitely probably in the top 5 matches of all time. That is what I put it at because I feel like this match had so much meaning and it was so great.
I went 4.5. The only problem I had with the ending, Stone Cold would hit The Rock with his finisher, and The Rock kicked out. Then he hit him with another finisher, and then The Rock kicked out. There's a match that you can watch if you get the greatest hits of Mick Foley DVD. It's Mick Foley versus the Sandman in ECW, where Mick Foley hit the Sandman with a cast iron skillet and knocked him out for real, and the Sandman wouldn't stop getting up. It kind of felt like that a little bit. They did it too many times, but again, each time there was a pause, but I felt they did it too many times, so it degraded the ending just a little bit for me. I went 4.5.
Yeah, so that's our show on this Wrestlemania X Seven.
Hold on, I said I was going to spray Paul Heyman. We're going to take it. We're going to take us out of here properly. Paul Heyman.
Holy Testicle Tuesday!
We don't need to hear any more from you. We don't need to hear how extreme everything is because we're going to go to a good pay-per-view, WrestleMania 20.
Yes, trust me, this is the pay-per-view that is not allowed to be mentioned by WWE television. They do their best not to mention this pay-per-view by any regards. And if you don't know why, stay tuned because WrestleMania 20 will be coming. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. Remember, like, share, subscribe, follow us. We get better because you make us better. Give us comments. Make sure we're putting out the kind of content you want to see.
And I'm out.